I am Friar Tuck, and this is your Personality HQ, and we do a weekly podcast. As you guys can see, I trimmed my beard, I shaved my head. I'm hoping I'm looking a little bit less like a Neanderthal and more like a well-rounded, at least on the head, human being. But anyways, welcome everyone. We're doing our mental wealth podcast, and we're going to talk about AI and is it a threat to humanity? And this is something that over the last probably about 3 or 4 days, there's been some very damning articles that have come out about our modern artificial intelligence. But I don't think that people fully understand what's going on. Hey, what's up, Chris? Nice to see you, buddy. Oh, and Beth, by the way, before I forget, all of the pictures are uploaded that I could get uploaded that were not corrupted. So if you check your Patreon, you will see you'll see the link, and you can download them. It's like 100+ pictures. So enjoy that. But anyways, there's been some damning news that's been coming out, and the damning news is that one, they're talking, and I said this probably about a little over a week ago, but now all of a sudden it's kind of propagated down. Is one guy says, "Hey, look, um, artificial intelligence is nowhere near AGI until we figure out a new language because LLMs are bad." You have this race it's almost like a fervor in our country to create something that is going to, in so many ways, be so disruptive it could lead us into a dystopian society. And I could see a lot of people might have a concern about it. There are a lot of things to be concerned about, but there are also a lot of things that you could be positive about as well. Okay, so what we're going to talk about is just kind of how to not only wrap our minds around it, but as AI comes into and blossoms into what AI supposedly will be. And by the way, guys, if you could tell me if my signal's good, because I can't really see anything. I am on the horizontal view. So, um, but just with AI on the horizon and all the disruption that it can do, how is it going to affect us? There are people right now that are, as AI is, pretty much taking everything that they got in so many ways. They are having an early expiration date. There is actually a rise in this due to the introduction of AI. This is stuff that the mainstream news is not going to tell you because they want to tell you how great AI is. They don't really want to tell you about all the dangers and the possible ramifications of what's going on, because fire is very useful. It cooks your food, it keeps you warm, it gives you light, but it's also dangerous. It could burn down your home and everything with you, and it could take your life. And in the same way, we need to start treating artificial intelligence in the same way. You're going to start seeing things that are emerging because you have these, what they call AI ethicists, that are starting to speak out, such as a guy left OpenAI maybe a week ago because he said that what's his name at the head of it is being reckless and irresponsible. You have this quest because whoever solves this problem, whichever nation solves this problem, it's no longer a matter of nations. Whichever company solves this problem becomes the ruling power. Um, Allies. But anyways, it's rolling power. Just hold on here. Um, Hi, Alfred. I hope you're going to be a little bit more pleasant over here. So, and that you make no sense, dude. You make no sense. But, anyways, just AI has this opportunity to be very, very disruptive to people, and I don't know exactly what exactly to advise you on, because you're going to possibly lose everything. You could lose it either because you're not prepared. You could lose it because you thought you had more time, or you didn't think it was going to happen to you. Most people are under the impression, oh, it's not going to happen to me. If on my other channel, if you listen to a majority of the comments, I got people that are just like, "Oh yeah, screw this AI crap. I hate AI." Okay, fine. Yeah, in about 5 years, you're gonna be using it and pretending like you liked it the whole time. But a lot of people are going to throw up that mental block. In a lot of ways, this happened in 2008. Um, uh, okay. Hold on. Here you comment. Plus, I see other comments too. Horizontal is working for me tonight. Okay, perfect. Good to know, Beth. Um, but anyways, I'm gonna wait until the very end so that those that watch this in replay, that are part of the replay crew, that they actually get an opportunity to hear one coherent thought versus me being distracted by comments. So I'm gonna work really hard on holding comments until the very end, and I'm gonna try, and so that means I'm probably not going to be paying attention to the screen for that reason. Okay, so for those of you that have issues with whether or not I'm looking at the camera, because that's another set of comments that I get. But people are already putting up their barriers against AI for one reason or another. And right now, it's in its infancy. Is it smarter than the average human being? As a whole, no, but in its capacity, what it's able to do, it is what's called narrow AI, which means it's a specialist. It specializes in whatever you teach it to specialize in. But now they're starting to find out that it doesn't have the necessary reasoning skills. And so, in order to be a proper reasoning artificial intelligence, they're having to invent a whole new code. And so now you're seeing all these people that are having this push up. And what happens when you get new technology is you'll have a lot of people that will adopt it really quick. And sometimes that can even be disruptive to the ones that have adopted it, because those that have adopted it um, will those that have adopted it uh, will kind of will kind of be, part of the casualties of what happens. But this is we are kind of like growing into a whole new age, a whole, not just technology, but this is going to change your everyday life. And I think that the best way to be able to say, how can we as a society, as a civilization, how do we survive the negative effects that it's going to have on us, and withstand and maintain our mental fortitude, because it will affect some very harshly. Some may not even notice it. Some may get minimal effect, but they're still able to recover from it. Some people may never even be able to recover from the effects of artificial intelligence, whether it be because of capacity or whether it be because of anything else. It's a matter of it's just a matter of how you're going to perceive the world. Okay, in the same way that you look at fire, do you have respect for it? um if you have respect for fire, then that means you're probably not going to be reckless and you're not going to be careless. And so this is going to come on an individual level. So for those of you that are here, what I would really strongly recommend is that put down your barriers for a moment and realize that sometimes in life, your choice is made for you. Okay. You can choose to sit on your ideologue. You can choose to sit on your principles, or your code of honor, or the way you wish it would be. But just like people wish it would go back to horses and buggies, do you? Now that we've had cars for so long, who wants to go back to a horse and buggy? And when we get flying cars, after a while, who's going to want to go back to a regular car? Okay, so it's a matter of, are you going to adapt and survive? Because the thing in nature is, if you look, it is constant chaos, it is constant disruption, and out of that disruption, it forces itself to consistently evolve. This is why you want to go do like an ice bath or and things like that, because what you're doing is you're putting your body in shock and forcing it to be able to evolve with it. But are you going to be one of the cells that gets shedded? Or are you going to be one of the cells that evolves and becomes part of the next generation? And so, at a bare minimum, you should at least take a moment and play around with it. Just have some curiosity, no matter how much you hate it. Just think about it like this: if you've got some you all know these people that, like, they'll say, "Oh, I don't bring an animal home," and then, you bring the animal home and then they're all mad, but secretly when nobody else is looking, they're sitting there best friends with the animal. If you tried to get rid of the animal, they wouldn't let you, but then they make sure that that they didn't want that animal and that that animal's not supposed to be there. It's you know, ta if you have to take that approach with it, that's fine. You don't have to openly admit it. You can go to your support group, to be able to cope with the effects of having of doing something that you would otherwise not do. But what is this curiosity gonna do? It's going to bring it to a point where you can actually understand what it is that you're dealing with. Because at this point, it is nothing more than a chatbot. From an IT world, what it is, essentially what it is a script that uses SQL, SQL, and compiles data, and then uses statistical analysis, and then puts an answer out that will be relevant enough based upon a statistical analysis. So right now it's statistics, but how impactful and how powerful is that? Um, this is just a chatbot, because the thing is if you understand the laws of the universe, the laws of nature, there is something called the law of averages. A health insurance company, because of the amount of data that they've collected over 100 years, can tell you your time of death down to 6 months plus or minus. Okay, they know how long you're going to live based upon your demographics, your health issues, and everything else like that. That's why all of a sudden you might get to an age and you're paying a higher rate than your friends, even though you think you've got good health. Well, you not realizing that they've already figured out the statistical probability that they're going to have to pay out. So therefore, they want to make sure they get their pound of flesh. Okay, that's kind of where it comes to. Okay, and so in the same sense, it is still able to do things for you that will help you position yourself for the future, because they're using statistical analysis to be able to write books. I mean, including making videos and all this other stuff. It is there is a science behind it. There is a mathematical science behind it, because your brain comprehends things in certain ways, and the way it sees the refraction, the way that the background music plays, the way that you have the, what do you call it, the visual effects and stuff like that, to kind of bring all of your senses into it. There's a science behind it, and there's a mathematical formula behind it. So is it smarter than a human? Yes and no. It cannot reason like a human, but it can tell a human more about a human than a human knows about themselves, which is really scary. Okay. So how do we deal with it? We let our curiosity take effect. You may just dabble with it and just use a chatbot. So one of the first things that that really made me get to a point where I looked at AI and I was like, you know what, this might not be such a bad thing, because like most people, I was like, you know what, screw AI. I like the human element, and there still is going to be a need for the human element, but I have my original website through GoDaddy, and I said, okay, I have my website through GoDaddy. I don't really have a lot of money. I need to be able to have a website that does this. And the one thing I don't like about GoDaddy is that if I upgrade my plan, that I have to rebuild my whole website, and I don't want to have to do that if I have to upgrade or downgrade over time, depending upon the what's going on. And so it spit out a whole set of results and gave me several options of, okay, you can try this place, this place, this place, or this place. So I went and I checked them out and decided what I wanted. I was able to do the research, but the chatbot was able to send me to places that I would have never thought of, never found, never heard of. But because it was looking for these specific parameters, and it just and it followed through on that, it was able to give me a result that I am now much happier with. I have something that I know that will be good with me no matter what. And did the human element go out of it? No. No, it did not. What it did is it assisted me in being able to find the solution, because hit that like button and say something. Yes, I know. Um but You know what though? I understand that, Chris. And that's just gonna happen. Um, Retool, reforming, coaching on mind of. Okay, okay. Retool, reframing, coaching on mind mapping. Q. Um, of Venn diagram. Okay. Uh, okay. Chatbot. Okay. So yeah, and Alfred, you're talking about the wrong channel, dude. You're talking about the wrong channel. But anyways, so the Venn diagram, yes. Um, so yeah, everything kind of comes together. I know a little bit about the Venn diagram, but don't know a whole lot. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is okay. So let me kind of I'm going to a workshop on the 1st of May. And the workshop is how to scale your business using artificial intelligence. And this is something that's there's going to be some high end keynote speakers that are going to be there. Okay, and it's very coveted tickets to be able to go to any of this stuff. Okay, and this is really what's happening behind the scenes with the world. And so you have nobody really talking about like, hey, look, man, we need to kind of get on top of this. You have people teaching you how to use it, but what about all these people that aren't hearing about it, that don't know about it, that would, if they knew about it, it could save them a whole shit ton of headaches. Really, that's the real question. Because um I didn't know that you could make money on YouTube until almost 2020. Okay. I didn't know that the AdSense program or anything else like that. And they'd had it around for years. Okay. It's when I found out about it, it was like I could have known about it years ago. Okay. I watched YouTube. I never really got served any information telling me about starting a YouTube channel until probably about 2018. And I was like, oh, okay, there's actually people making money at this stuff. Okay. The thing is right now, every business in America, every business in China, every business in India, for certain, is racing to see how they can integrate artificial intelligence into their company. What does this mean? This means you no longer, okay, if I had my channel going based upon the size of my other channel, if I had my channel going the way it should be, I would have a what is it? I would have I'd have a video editor, I'd have a copywriter, I would have a thumbnail designer, I would have a manager to be able to bring all those deals in. That's 4 people. Okay. Um, okay, that's 4 people. With just creating the Fryer bot, I no longer need a copywriter. I no longer need a thumbnail designer. Okay. Um, just with the introduction of AI, that's 2. Okay. That's two jobs right now that I don't have to hire for, that I can now do it. What does this mean for you as an individual? Okay. So there is something that's really not spoken of, but is happening behind the scenes. And that is that poor people are starting to start businesses at an alarming rate. Poor people who don't have any money. Okay. People who are looking for a way out of their situation and want to make some money. Poor people are starting businesses now more than ever. Okay. Why? Why is it? Why was it easier? Why was it harder for me to start a business in 2015 than it is in 2025, 10 years later? Okay. The reason why is because the barrier for entry and the ability to compete has been changed in a lot of ways. Okay. Having having a copywriter there. Yes, I know there's going to be a lot of people that's going to have to go through a change and stuff like that. I'm getting used to it. I'm understanding it. Okay. I'm just going to have to deal with it. But this is something that I see that in 2 years, people will be like, man, because see, the thing is, everybody talks about a trending topic, but the topic becomes trending after those that have been established have finally gotten enough headway. Everybody else is going to come in and ride the tailwind, but the authority is going to be those that get in on it to begin with, that really start pushing that narrative. And you've got multiple narratives. AI is God, or AI is the devil, or AI is both of them, and we just need to figure out what our boundaries are. Okay. Change always freak people out. It seems you all know. Yeah. So just with the Fryer bot, I have the ability to not hire two people. Um, okay, that okay. Now let's say I decide I want to expand the amount of things that I do. I could go to N8N. I could get myself an agent. I could have that agent doing topic research for specific topics for me, and spit out an outline that I could therefore transfer over into another chat bot that specializes, because again it's narrow AI. And then I could have it create a script and tell it to expand it until it reaches the length in which I want. Yes. Remember the Fryer bot, Beth. Okay, so that's it. That was my first AI agent. Okay, so it was very bare bones, but it was my first AI agent just to understand how the technology worked. It's quite interesting. I still think it's script based, but I think all programming is script based, so I should just kind of get over it. Because I'm still trying to see it where for something greater than just a basic computer program. It can do a lot of cool things, but not everything. Okay, so uh, this is this is what's happening, and it's happening at an alarming rate. It's being done silently. Okay, um, the for the oh for mine for okay. So if you want to, and I'll start. I need to start getting Beth. I'm gonna send you a direct message via Patreon, but I'm gonna invite you over to something else that I'm doing. I'll give you a little bit of an explanation. Um, but I think that I want to, yeah, at least I'll send you a message about something that I'm working on. But um, you want to go through someone like Hostinger. Hostinger is a VPN, a VPS, a virtual private server. So therefore, they host it, they compile it all. So therefore, you have what's considered an offsite storage or an offsite silo, because now they have backups and stuff like that. It ensures the integrity of your of your software, your network, your data, and all that other stuff. Because if something happens in EMP, you need to be able to get a backup. Okay. Backups are one of the most important things, and heads roll when you have like a week's worth of unsuccessful backups. Yes, a virtual private server. So basically, it's a virtual server on a blade server that takes up a little bit of hard drive space. You get to use the resources without needing the huge piece of hardware. So you only need like maybe 50 gigs of or 100 gigs of a 1 terabyte drive. So 10 people are sharing that 1 terabyte drive plus all of those resources that are there. Okay, that's the benefit of having a virtual private server. And so you therefore have your N8N agent, which is going to cost you anywhere from like 20 to 50 bucks a month. So you could look at anywhere from 50 to $75 a month just to have a quality functioning AI agent. And that AI agent will do so much more for you than what my Fryerbot will do. Okay, because I bot press is free for a reason. Okay, now the Chinese are giving away free AI agents, and so that's changing the game, and that's kind of screwing with everybody here in America. um yeah, that's about 75. I if you want to do something like that, yes. And so what do you have it do? You can train it, because it's all trainable. And what you'll hear constantly within the AI agent area is that um what you'll hear is that uh, uh, it will grow up, or it will, yeah, they will tell you that it'll grow up, because in a way it starts with a blank slate, and you are custom training it to your specific style. It learns your habits, it learns what you like, it learns what you're interested in, it figures out what answers you're looking for, which is kind of a little scary. Okay, because when the a piece of software knows you better than you know yourself, okay, and it can figure it out, how does it or does it not manipulate your decisions and the things in which you do? Hold on a second. Sam, go away, Sam. All right. Yeah, it was like 65 here today, so she was really hot in the trailer, so I put her outside to stay cool. Um but it just, you have, just for $75 a month, I could have a marketing agent that I trained. And you can create multiple agents, and then you can create a hierarchy, so you have a managing agent, and then you start just training each of your agents like you would an actual employee. So therefore, where's the need for an employee? That means you know no longer need copywriters. That means you no longer need technology people. AI is writing software, and you're starting to see the tech field just get completely slashed. You have all of these negative things that are happening, these disruptive things, as we make the progress. Okay, so um this is something that we, as a society, running headfirst into our own destruction. How do we keep it from being destructive to us? Because it's going to be destructive to those that are not prepared, those who are not at least taking a moment to be curious about it. Why? Because if you're not at least curious about it, because in order for you to keep your job, they may still want a human element just to be able to do error checking. So instead of, so right now, if you go over to Microsoft is offering its own project management certification. This project management certification will be the next MCSE. For those of you who do not know the MCSE, if it wasn't for Microsoft, guys like me would have never been able to have a job, because he created a software and then required certifications for his software, and then gave special privileges to those that had Microsoft certified professionals like myself. I was an MCP. I was a junior administrator. I sucked at the tests. I hate Microsoft when it comes to tests. Oh, actually, I hate Microsoft altogether. I think Microsoft's is the devil. But they created that, so now you can go over there. You can get a free trial, and I think you even get the certification. You may have to pay like $99 or $150 for it, but that certification will be the same thing as getting an MCSE in when Microsoft first started handing out its certifications. And what it's doing is it's training you to be a project manager, because the way that you are going to have to be able to make yourself valuable if you want to have a job is you need to be able to work with AI, which means you need to be curious, which means you need to start exploring it now, because in 2 to 5 years, this could be your job, or not only be your job, but it can also be your ticket out of the shithole that we've all been in. Because most Americans, this right now is going to completely, like, every once in a while, like the Industrial Revolution, there was it completely shook up the whole wealth. A lot of old money lost a lot of stuff. Um, um, okay, a lot of old money to a lot of old, lost a lot of, yeah, we lost a lot of old money. And when we lost that old money, we had new money to come in and take that place, because there were businesses, there were people that just like refused to go with the new up and coming thing, not realizing that it was going to be their demise, and therefore they wanted out. Well, now we have a new industrial revolution. This is what Klaus Schwab was calling the fourth industrial revolution, and it's not like what everybody was thinking. it is AI. And that is the reason why it's an industrial revolution, is because everybody's on the same playing field. It's whether or not you're willing to get ahead of the game. It's whether or not you're willing to get ahead of the game, or stay stuck behind. But at the end of the day, this is coming, and the new wealth class will be the ones that adopt it. The new poor class will be the ones that fight it and go against it. Now, I mean, there will be some people who'll be able to scrape their way out of it, but for the most part, no. Okay. And so you got to ask yourself, what are your priorities? What's important to you? Instead of looking at it as a destructive force, look at it look at it as an opportunity. This is an opportunity for you as an individual to be able to be able to reset your life and maybe have a different outcome. Because money's always going to be made, but it's just a matter of, are you going to make enough to survive, or are you going to be one of those that refuse to and is so far behind the curve that society leaves you behind and you're stuck out on a street corner begging for change? Okay. That will happen. Okay. It's just going to be the way it is, unfortunately. But let's get into questions. I hope I help you guys kind of figure your way out. Okay, so I want to train people how to sort the thoughts they endure daily, how to channel one's energy productively. Theory I'm thinking of involves stress reduction for people surfing the internet. Um, it's a good idea, but do you have a market for it? If you don't have a market, how do you bring awareness to that market? Okay, that's going to be that's the $1,000,000 question. Um, it's a great idea. People need to be able to decompress from all this fear mongering. They're going to have to do it, and I think that maybe in the future, that may be something, because one of the things that is bugging me right now is being a content creator, being on my phone so much. I spend 8 to 10 hours a day on my phone, not doing things to have fun, not playing games, but doing actual work. And so I need to be able that's why I've started going outside and doing things outside, because it's like I got to put this down. This is destroying my life in so many ways. It's a double-edged sword. This is how I make my money, but at the end of the day, I don't want it to be all of who I am. And I think that this is going to be the internal battle that the average human being is going to play. And I would probably use AI as a tool and put those questions in and that idea in and ask it a bunch of questions and follow-up questions, and make sure when it gives you an answer that whether or not you agree with it, but you don't think is right or you think could be better, ask it to give you a better answer and see what happens. It will, at the bare minimum, give you some ideas so you know where to go, and then you can keep working from there. But Beth, I think you would have a great thing to do. You are going to have to advertise yourself on digital media, because that's going to be where your clientele and your customers are. Your customers are on YouTube, the people watching here. So you would have to think about something like that. Okay. You would have to get to them that way. And you do it by bringing value and then offering them an opportunity to go deeper by taking a membership or buying a course or doing consulting or something along those lines that will help them achieve the goals that they're seeking to achieve with your information. That's just a simplistic outline of how you're going to be running a business in the future. It's not really complicated. And again, you have so much assistance and so many tools that if you have the idea and the knowledge, okay. So the one thing over on the other channel is I have the knowledge. Okay, I've been chronically homeless for 25 years. I owned a business for 6 years. I tried multiple businesses before that. I did sales. Um, I used to bump elbows with millionaires and billionaires, being in the sales industry, especially when you're in the financial industry. It's so I've I've got all that knowledge, but how do I structure it? How do I package it so that not only I can make money off of that knowledge, but I can do something that's actually going to benefit me and society? Because if you benefit society, it'll benefit you. And so therefore, that's why I'm making the changes and doing it the hard way. It is what it is, but it is the hard way. Um, and I think that that will be the economy of the future. People sharing knowledge and wisdom about little things, and some people that just, because women, they're more into community. They want to listen to the gossip and all the other stuff. And guys, we want to learn knowledge, like how do I make this cool race car, that type of thing. I think that with the takeover of jobs, it may lead us to an opportunity to have more free time to do the things that we enjoy most and still be able to profit off of them, because it's the human experience. We spend so much time in the digital realm that if we don't get away from the digital realm, then and find the humanity, uh, we've lost ourselves, and that's the truth of it. So let's see here. In its infancy, but how I market my channel, right? Yes. Um, Marketing your well, it's not necessarily, you're not really marketing your channel, Beth. It's more like, and you would benefit from the from my coaching, but um, but to answer your question, uh, what was it again? How do you market your channel? It's not necessarily your channel. It's where do you want to meet people and how do you want to meet them? And then once you figure that out, that tells you what platforms you're going to want to be on. You're going to need a primary focus platform, which is okay. So my mistake was I should have started on Facebook and not on YouTube talking about the homeless thing, because more people talk on homelessness, when more people talk about homelessness on YouTube or excuse me, on Facebook than they do on YouTube. YouTube doesn't really represent the homeless community. It represents the advocates community, where they get to go have the feel good of seeing some kind person give a homeless person something, and now they get to feel good and get tons of views and make lots of money. Yeah. In a lot of ways, I think it's demoralizing, but they do it and nobody thinks anything of it, and it keeps on going. Okay, but it just, you got to figure out where your market is. So Windows, anxious people, financial struggle, fear of eviction. um well, you got to be careful. I'm going to tell you that there's really no money in the homeless niche. um you like, do you see any of the homeless content creators that have any sponsorships? I haven't. Why don't they get sponsorships? Because nobody wants to be attached to homelessness. So that's another thing. Like, you can talk about homelessness, but it needs to be a sub topic of what it is that you actually talk about. That is my lesson from everything. So, oops, let's go here. Okay. I need creative outlet as well. I taught school all those years and chose to retire early, so I need an outlet to try and help folks too. Well, you're already a natural educator. You already have the skill set. I like to teach people, but I'm not a really good educator. You might be you might be really good at networking with other content creators like myself, where we could exchange either quid pro quo, or pay you to teach me your skills as a teacher, as an educator, because and you have the ability to shape how they educate. So that way you would still be able to have the influence on, like, look, we're teaching people in this way so that we keep them calm, so that we don't stress them out. We don't need your viewers stressed out. We need your viewers educated, informed, and feeling good about the situation. And even when I do my script, that's what I tell, is like, that's what I want my viewers to do. But you have that ability and you could shape things that way. Okay, so let's see. Okay. AI is overrated, in my humble opinion. If you do a good job, regardless of what it is, word of mouth is going to be superior. I would have said 10 years ago, you're correct, Chris. I would completely agree with you. But when I started my business, I started in the digital economy. Okay. I didn't realize it, but I was one of the first ones into the digital economy. It started around 2010 to 2013, depending upon who you ask. But I got in about 2015, and in 2010, I was writing my first blog articles. That's kind of how I was getting my first business started. Um, but I learned a lot about startup capital and stuff like that. But um, 10 years ago, you could do something like that. It was much easier. You were, yeah, but nowadays, who's your clients? Either really old people or really young people. And most, if you're 40, if you're under 40, um technology is a big part of your life and you better understand it. If you're over 40, well, technology's never been a big part of your life, but and that's really where the issue is going to come in, is because you can do grunt labor, but as things inflate, as money, goes differently, as things change economically, it's going to be like going and you and doing somebody's yard work is not going to pay more than McDonald's will pay more than what doing a lot of stuff now, or a lot of stuff like that. So I'd be kind of, I think that 10 years ago you would have been right, but I think that you're wrong at this point. But we'll see. I may be wrong. I may have to eat my hat, and I'll sink or swim on my own. But LOL, stuff we yacked it up about in the teachers lounge. Yeah. Um, you have 16 hours free time a day, leaving 8 hours of sleep. How more free time can we get? Poor Bucknut sleeps 4 hours a night, hasn't slept 8 hours. Um, uh, I'm not sure I believe that one, Alfred. Um, Ask yourself if you would listen to AI about who it would recommend for a doctor rather than the community. Actually, I'm in the process. It's one of the videos on my list, but I'm talking. Uh, Okay, so in Africa, they're actually having they're using AI to be able to do a lot of diagnosis. It is improving the health in Africa. It's being used in parts of Europe. There are parts of the United States that are starting to use it. Telehealth is becoming bigger. Right now, AI is a lot of people are it's going to be to a point where people will not go see a doctor unless they have an AI assistant, because it's statistically better than a human, because of the way that it's been trained, and they're constantly updating it every day. So I think that is the way it is. Yeah. Okay. You have a good night too, Chris. Usually people over 40 have all the money. Um, yeah, but you know what? The average kid starting one of these AI ventures, becoming multimillionaires, is under 25. The young generation is where all this money's going, because all the old people are spending all their money on healthcare, which goes into the medical health industrial complex. Okay, so yeah, you guys are getting fleeced, or we're getting fleeced, because I'm over 42, so we're getting fleeced in that manner. But yeah, it's the because of the healthcare industrial complex, a whole all the baby boomers are about to be fleeced. Did you know that the last 2 years of your life, you spend 80% of your total wealth on your well-being? So everything that you would spend on your medical bills, all the way up to 2 years till you die, is only 20% of what you'll spend in a lifetime. Okay, 80% of it is the last 2 years of your life. Who's going to make all that money? Hospice care, doctors care, long term care, keep you alive, keep you alive, keep you alive. That's the way it is. Okay. There's nothing really big about it. But the whole, so to say, oh, yes, all the old people have money, not in about 10 years, because they all gave it to the medical complex, and they didn't leave anything to their children because they hated their children. As I'm not a Christian, but in the Bible it says, a father against son, son against father, mother against daughter, daughter against mother. And if this isn't father against son, mother against daughter, I don't know what it is, because traditionally, if there was generational wealth, it would get passed down. It would never. Even my grandfather was a World War II generation, created a trust for all five of his children to live off of after he passed away, but they squandered it. Okay. Because they were great consumers. They knew how to spend money, but they didn't know how to save it. And so I went from being part of a family that came from old money to my mom and her sisters and brothers basically squandered everything we had, so there was no more wealth left. I could have had a completely different life otherwise, but that's kind of what happens. Money doesn't stay in generations very long. Um, I think it only lasts like 5 or 6 generations. But this is the thing: is it's all going to the medical. What's up, Cherokee? It's going to the medical industrial complex. Okay, and that's just the way it is. So cool, late night life. Well, it's not. Well, I guess it's late for you. But so yeah, okay. Um, yeah, but this is just I don't know. It is what it is. But this is 20-30 year window of time to maybe enjoy life. Guess I'll find out. Well, you were at least you got to retire early, and I know we had a couple of teachers in my neighborhood growing up that were retired, and they were getting like 125% of their salary. So teachers, teachers, their retirement was better than their work. I mean, yeah, she was like an English teacher or something like that. Um, that's why whenever I hear people like, I mean, for a master's degree, you don't get paid what you're worth, but the retirement plan you have, I mean, nobody gets a retirement plan where they got more going out than they did coming in. So, but yeah, um, let's see here. But yeah, it just at least you got to retire early though. That's one good thing. Um, so now you get to enjoy life. What'd you do? Retire at like 58 or 59? So, tenured, I suppose. Oh, yeah, you got to do 30 years in order to get it. They don't just give away teachers retired. Then I know, well, my old man did 10 years driving school bus for Seminole County. Uh, and yeah, he got a retirement, but it was nowhere near what he gets from the military. So, mm. But now you have an opportunity to reinvent yourself. See, the one benefit of being a government employee is if you do your 20 years, you can actually collect 2 and 3 retirements if you play it right. You just need to once you get out, you need to take those skills into the private sector. And once you take those skills into the private sector, now you've got yourself a second set of income. You go do it, set yourself up multiple retirements. That is why government employees do so much better than the private sector. In the private sector, there's very few people that you're doing it in the private sector, so it's not like you can take it out and offer your expertise unless you're really good or you spent 30 years at a company. So I don't know. You just don't have those opportunities in the private sector like you do in the government sector. Which I guess it offsets because I mean, being able to collect 2 and 3 retirements compared to everybody else mostly doesn't get one. Um, it makes up for the lack of pay that you get for having such a high degree. I don't know. It depends. But you know what? If it wasn't for my high school English teacher, I wouldn't know how to read. If it wasn't for Mrs. Egley, I wouldn't know how to read. You guys think I'm smart. I know how to speak, but I could read the words. I just didn't understand what I was reading. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have known that and punctuation, and being able to do proper grammar. And like I used to like dream it in my sleep. She beat it in my head. Mm. But teachers are the most important things that we need. Okay. 55 extenuating circumstances and good for her. Yeah. Well, yeah. But I don't know. But so you want to teach people this. Okay. Um, Beth, you are you willing to get on YouTube and do something like this? Are you willing to get on Facebook or do you just want to do digital print? I'm just curious. Or are you trying to do something that's faceless? And don't let AI do too much of it for you because if it does, there's a calling for teaching. Yeah. Um, Yeah, my old man after he retired, he wanted to become a history teacher. I wanted to be a history teacher myself. I love teaching people, sharing my knowledge, but I don't think that I would ever. I'm glad I'm not a traditional teacher. Um because as a traditional teacher, you kind of you learn the textbooks, but as the way I've learned life is it's all through experience, and so therefore I get to teach through my life experience, which is a whole different method. But yeah, if you decide you want to do something like that, you can we can definitely work together. I'll make sure and do a shout out for your channel, just like I would do for any other subscriber. So that way, if whatever you decide, I don't think it will go away. I still want to teach. Okay, but what do you first of all, what did you teach, out of curiosity? And I'm gonna close these windows because it's gonna get cool tonight. uh, it was just it was so hot today. Well, hot in the trailer. It wasn't hot outside. Oh, my neighbor came by today. He just bought the tax lien to the lady next to me. Um, kind of yeah. So um, mm, yeah. Okay. So what? Let me see if we got here. Far out things. I don't think. Um, so what did you teach? Far out. Wow, I ain't heard that since my mom. Shit. Totally. That's groovy, man. that dates us, doesn't it? Anyways, what do you guys think of my beard? It's a lot more tame than it was. I still got to do a lot more to it, but it is what it is. Okay, so um, all right. Well, oh shit, we're coming up on an hour. Nice. All right. So we've had a nice little open talk. I got some of my regulars over here. I'm glad to see y'all. If you guys want to see me on Monday nights, it's gonna be over here. Since I started out regular education, then I had a blind kiddo come through 1 year, so I bug for wanting to work with. Oh, my best friend's autistic, and I love. Honestly, I get along better with autistic people just because I have to deal with the whole emotional side. It's so much better, so much better. Um, but crap, I might if we keep this going, I'm gonna have to turn on my light. Hold on a second. We may have to relocate for a second. So hold on a second, guys. We're gonna. If I lose you, somebody say something in chat, okay? Because I will catch it. But anyways, let's. Do we want green, blue, or red? Because I can't do anything on my phone right now. I was gonna show you some cool stuff, but let's turn on. I'm gonna go with the green. Well, actually, yeah, that's the color. So that turned into me expanding into social work. Ah, yeah, social work. That's something else, man. I'm telling you. Yeah. Ugh. Okay. So let me get over here. All right. There we go. All right. So now you guys kind of get to see, and you guys get to see a little bit of the desert. Nice. Okay. So green. All right. So yeah, we got green. So that turned into me expanding the social work to get those kids' families connected with services within the community. Yeah, there's so much more known about autism now, but my best friend was tortured, and his aunt, his aunt kept throwing him in. She'd rile him up and then get him thrown into a mental asylum so that she could get rid of him for a while, and then he'd have to, work his way out. And then she did that to him like 3 times in his lifetime. And yeah, she even used to torture him and stuff like that. So yeah, autistic people don't have a good life. Anyway, I'm still processing how much I shared tonight. Yeah, that's fine, Beth. That's fine. Um, the main thing that for you, what you do as far as like teaching and social work and stuff like that. There's a lady right now, and I've actually referred her to Homeless Entrepreneur, because but what she's doing is she's using AI to assist homelessness. I don't. She wants to create an AI program that is just for the homeless to help the homeless. I'm not exactly sure what that program looks like, but partnering with people like that, because of your background with social work and teaching and dealing with developmental disabilities, you'd be a good fit if you had the right mindset. But you also got to realize that the homeless industrial complex is corrupt, just like every other complex within our country. And so you need to be aware that of the beast that you're dealing with, because um, that beast is really about return customers. It's not really about helping people. The frontline people want to help people, but the way that they design their policies and their services, it doesn't really allow them to do anything that is productive for anybody that really wants to get out of that situation. Okay. So, yeah, it is terrible. Yeah, I mean that's what happened. The poor kiddo with me. No, it wasn't his mom, it was his aunt. And the funny thing is his mom and his family, he came from a lot of money, like multimillionaire. Okay. And they left him when his mom passed, because that's why he went to go stay with his aunt and his uncle. When his mom passed, she left him, and his grandpa also left him a crap ton of money, which his aunt, part of what she was doing to keep him in the insane asylum was to take all of his money. And he didn't find out until he was 35 years old how much money his aunt had robbed him with. And ever since then, as soon as it came to him, the bank has been trying to steal the money from him. They keep locking his account, won't let him do anything with it. It's absolutely crazy. So you want to you want to talk about a crazy story? Yeah, that's my best friend. So um, I check out the sunset behind you, Tuck. Oh yeah, you want to see that? There you go. It's a beautiful sunset, isn't it? Yeah, well, it's almost 7 o'clock, so sun doesn't go down till about 7 o'clock. I'll give you guys the sunset, and then we are gonna go ahead and close this out. Uh, oh yeah, tell me about it. Tell me about it. It's like, and yeah, and I can't tell you some of the stuff that he's doing right now, but I can tell you that he is very well connected to certain power players in our country, because of certain things that he did, and now, um, yeah. Yeah, I'm learning about what I learned really what was going on down at the border. And uh that whole thing where they put military trucks down at the border, but they took the engines out and everything else like that. Apparently that was my buddy's idea. Um to use as a decoy to push everybody to Arizona. And it worked, apparently. So it worked quite good. But now I'm in the area where they all got pushed to. But it is what it is. Okay. In contrast with green, yeah. Yeah. So, all right, guys. Well, I really enjoy that you guys showed up tonight, that you guys were part of the community. This will grow over time. I'm going to let you guys in because you guys are my regulars. I was going to kind of keep it to myself. But while we're watching the sunset, I'll cover some other channel business. Um, One of the things that I was when I was looking at everything that was going on with my other channel, it was, well, I talked about homeless for the last couple of years. I don't want to like get rid of that because it's valuable information and will make an impact when the great dispossession finally hits. And so I tried to pivot. I've been trying to pivot it, but every time I try and jump into that pivot to really do the full on pivot, I'm getting hit so hard. I'm struggling so hard just to be able to get basic views that it's driving me nuts. I don't know what else to say. Uh, so everybody was happy that I went homesteading. Everybody's happy if I talk about homelessness. Um, but if I talk about making money online, the digital economy, artificial intelligence, any of that stuff, nobody wants to hear it because I attracted people because I was on trail, I was traveling, and I was homeless. And now that I'm no longer hiking on trail or homeless, a lot of people are frustrated because the topic that I've switched to doesn't necessarily fit with the community culture. Um, preppers and stuff like that. They're not. It's technology is no. They're trying to live life without technology, and so I get it. There's a lot of people that are upset with me, and I don't know what to do. And so what I did today is I said, you know what, screw it. I'm gonna do a mirror channel and I'm gonna do an experiment. I'm gonna put 30 videos up over there. It's called um uh AI for beginners. So if you search for the channel AI for beginners, it will be under Rebel Tuck is my handle. If you do want to search it and stuff like that, for those of you that are curious. But I'm going to see if because the thing is, I had people yelling at me. You just need to create a second channel. It's like, well, dude, I spent so long monetizing this. I don't want to have to start over from scratch. And if you don't keep relevant views and relevant stuff, your money's going to dwindle. That's kind of where I'm at because if it wasn't for all of my homeless videos, I'd be making probably less than $20 a month. So in order to make sure that I can at least not be homeless again, I'm gonna have to focus on homelessness. I will talk about making money online. I will talk about businesses. I'm gonna start working on just doing the homesteading part because I need the views. I need the views until I can at least get this other side set up. At that point in time, I can kind of either do 3 channels or let one of them go and figure out which one do I want to let go, which one do I not want to let go if I come to that. Or I may just go straight to one channel and say, anybody that wants to follow me, let's go. Because the thing is that the algorithm is penalizing me the whole time. Okay. It is penalizing me to a point where it's causing me harm in a lot of ways. And so I'm trying to get over that, get around it, but I think that this may end. I'm going to do this experiment, see what happens. Otherwise, I'm I built so much on one niche. Either I have to completely wipe the channel, keep the subscribers, keep the monetization, and start differently, and wait 3 months for the algorithm to pick me up, or hopefully I can get another channel up and going and monetize in less than 90 days. Because I can't do this. I can't keep doing this. We worked it out. I'm making $2.67 an hour. I'm making less than minimum wage. I'm working my ass off. My everything's improved. Everything's going well. I'm doing well, but my message isn't resonating because I was talking to a different crowd. And so it doesn't matter how well I do because that crowd just has that mental block that I'm not going to make it through and I've just had to concede. And that's kind of so as you guys see me evolve, if you see things changing, you know why. Patreon is going to be the same. I'm just going to send that channel over there and it's just going to be emerging in the communities because a lot of the people that are on these 2 channels already will follow me over there. Because they're tied to me, not because of the message, but because they're tied to me. I have a relationship with you and me, Chris. I know you don't like the topics, but I appreciate you staying loyal. Appreciate that you still show up. And that's why I make sure to communicate with you at all times. Okay, same thing with you, Beth. You're more into the new topic. But Bucknut, he's not really into it. He just shows up because he supports me and he's been invested for so long. He wants to see me succeed. And I want to succeed. I'm I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. So um so I don't know. Because I mean right now I have like Yeah. I can make my property payment, but if I gotta buy water this month, I'm fucked. If I can't even buy cigarettes and weed this month. Okay. That's even with the money that I made, I used it to try and push me and improve my situation, but instead, my situation didn't improve. And I don't think it was the tools. I don't think it was me. I think it was just the situation. And it's just I have to deal with it. So anyways, um okay. Okay, hold on. Let's see what you guys got to say here. Hold on. I got to put this up here. Okay. Beth, cool. Yeah. You'll have a good one, Tuck. Don't take anything I say personally. I just want to help you, brother. Dude, nothing you say is personal to me, man. I love you, dear. I love you, dude. You're family here. Just like James Parameter or Matt DeCat. He's family, but I think he unsubscribed today because he's so mad at me for talking about AI because he doesn't want to hear about AI. He would have supported me any other way. And so this is the growing pains of doing the transition. And I'm just gonna have to deal with it. Yeah, okay. Alright, Tuck, you just look at that. Yeah. Yeah. Yep, you seem good at evolving. Well, because that's my lifestyle, Beth. Um, you know, my lifestyle is that in order to survive homelessness, you got to evolve because what you were doing wasn't working. What's up, Colt? Nice to see you. Oh, Oh, dude, did you make it all the way through and you finally just caught up? Nice to see you, Colt. I'm glad to see you, buddy. Um, truth changes, gives growing pains, push on through. Yeah. Well, this is why on the other channel I'm doing such a big push into membership. Okay. Um, I'm gonna be talking about the digital homesteading part. But I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure out something to do. Something's got to change though. Um, because I don't know. We'll see. The video that comes out Wednesday will kind of tell me will be a huge indicator on how I do. Okay, I've already pre-released it over on the other channel just to give it a head start to see if it would do better. I gotta wait like 24 hours for YouTube to like verify me and stuff because like I went through the whole verification real quick with them. Um, but yeah, it was something else. But I don't know. But okay, Beth, yes, but I'm so glad to see my regulars show up. You guys make this when I have my bad days. You guys are the ones that when I do my live streams and I show up. You guys are the ones that make my day better. So just know that I truly appreciate you guys. But that sunset there, giving you guys that sunset back. Ah, um, but all right, truth gives. All right, so But anyways, if let's see, turning in, y'all. Nice sunset there. Do you have a link to your other channel on this channel? No, I do not. Chris, I will just search for AI for beginners. Either that or do at Rebel Tuck. And those two things, like if you put that in the search bar, um, it will pull me up. Just Rebel Tuck is what I put as my handle there. So, but yeah, try that out and tell me what you think. Check it out. I'm gonna be talking about more stuff over there. But, anyways, guys, I want to say thank you for being here for the sunset and all this other stuff. You guys make everything worth it. I can't wait to see you next week. And for those of you that follow me to all my lives, I will see you Wednesday night on the other channel, the Epoch of Friar Tuck. See you then, guys.